Alright, like always, we will wait a couple of seconds until we kick off things. Just give everyone a chance to join. Alright, and I can see we have our first viewers, so hello and welcome everyone to today's new AI stream. With me is Emmanuel, you know him by now. But yeah, we have prepared tons of interesting new releases from the past couple of days. So yeah, I would say let's jump right into it. The first big thing is Figma's integrating AI into their products. And we've been talking about this also on the last stream. Not exactly this, but basically, we kind of now have a wave where these new technologies are integrated into actual products, which is super cool to see because it took some time to actually figure out where these technologies can be useful. And now we have really good examples of where these kinds of things can be integrated. So yeah, that's super interesting. So they released a blog post about the upcoming changes. So let's have a look here. First of all, large language or large vision models have been getting better and better. And if you used Figma, you probably know that after working with it for some time, you have these huge canvases with tons and tons of prototypes and layouts and everything. And now we can use these vision models to actually understand the content and then make it searchable. So you can just, in a huge canvas, you can find the things you're looking for super quickly and with natural language, which is super interesting and yeah, I guess just a great feature in general. Okay, what is next? So we can do the usual things that large language models are also pretty good at, like translate, shorten, or rewrite texts with just a click. We have seen this feature also, for example, from Apple. Yeah, we can use Gen AI to create beautiful images. So it's really nice now to add images to your prototypes. I know from personal experience that it was a pain to kind of find free, good stock images. Yeah, so that's really nice to have. And then this is also something very nice. You can actually upload the design, just a static design image that has no functionality. And then with Figma AI, you can basically go to an interactive prototype with just one click. Yeah, that's super cool because a lot of designs are basically just static and you can't do anything. And now these kind of models can understand how things should behave and then can generate this interactive prototype, which is super cool to see. Then this, I also noticed from my personal experience with Photoshop, you often work with these layers, but most of the time you actually don't rename them because it's just extra work and sometimes you just want to save some time. So this is kind of a really great co-pilot that works alongside, um, yeah, works alongside your like daily tasks, and just makes your life easier. Yeah, so we already covered that. You can generate a design from text prompts, which is also super cool to see because maybe like I've already heard of Figma plugins, I guess they're called, that can go from design to like code. And this is super cool if you can kind of design your code with text, if you can design if you can basically create your design with text and then take that design and generate code from it. It's super nice. I mean, visually editing things is like much easier than actually kind of changing the code and seeing what's happening. So yeah, this is like a super cool feature. I hope we can actually test this out soon. I just opened Figma and I didn't have the feature yet, so yeah, I'm super hyped to test this out in the future. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you said at the beginning it's like this new like wave of companies like building or embedding the AI into their like products, which is pretty cool. We saw it with Google, we've seen it with Meta wanting to like embed these things. We already think I have it. We have something on Instagram. Uh, like you said, I think there was some. I didn't know it was plugins. I usually don't work a lot with Figma, so I might not be super like up to date with this. But I also heard about this going from design to code. Again, I didn't know if it was plugins or it was part of like built-in Figma, but it's getting there. It's getting there. Like when you can just create a design and then you just click something, one button, and magically you have a web page.
Hmm.
Of course, that comes with its complications that one can think of, like even if it's very well done through AI. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I mean, I guess just this, I think this one that we have in screen right now, going from a simple prompt to full design. We had similar things when creating React components. I think it was Vercel, the one Vercel Zero or something like that. I don't remember the
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
But where you would like type in the description and you would get the component right away. So all of these things, I think it's right now it's great for prototyping. It might not be the most efficient when building something that you have like very clear in mind because let's say I know exactly how I want my app to look.
Hmm.
I think, I mean, me that don't doesn't like I don't know Figma at all. Definitely, I wouldn't be able to do it without these type of functionalities. But thinking from the perspective of someone who works with this on a daily basis, it might be like faster for him to like whip up a design that he knows exactly how it should look than iterating over these like AI generated ones. But it's still like pretty crazy that like we're getting to that point. I remember seeing some. This is just like random thought some competitions that like Figma, like competitions like speed runs sort of things where they would design these like crazy like web pages in 30 minutes. So I can imagine how that would look with these type of features built in.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, it is pretty cool that we're getting there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like you said, I think this is like a great tool that actually empowers people to kind of work with more complex systems and even work with systems where they don't understand all the features and functionalities. It just makes it easier in general.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. Like lots of people have like plenty of ideas that they might not be able to phrase. But imagine just jumping here, like I don't know, somebody who works for some company and they have this great idea and they can just jump in Figma in 10, 15 minutes. Well,
mhm,
maybe 10, 15 minutes is a stretch, but let's pretend 10, 15 minutes whip up like the idea. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect or anything. So they can like show it and like you said, I think the word is empower
mhm.
and yeah, definitely it's a nice thing to see.
All right, then let's jump over to our next topic. And this is kind of a research that Google released. So they have created a model that can basically do smart copy and pasting. So, yeah, what is meant by this? So, Google found in their research that 25% of all pastes are immediately modified. So, we know this, like, this is kind of from an age before Gen AI, but a lot of times you just took code from the internet, like from Stack Overflow or somewhere, and pasted it into your project. And like Google is saying here, like most of the times you actually have to modify this piece of code immediately to make it fit into your actual project. And now they built a model that can actually do these kinds of adjustments on its own. Basically, it can understand what's happening in the code, it can understand the pasted snippet, and then can kind of adjust all these small pieces that needs to be adjusted. So yeah, we can have a look here. So we have this function right here, this floor function, and now we want this, I guess, seal function. I'm not sure what is meant by this, but you can see right here that it's copy pasted the floor function, and then you can see it kind of already suggests the name of the new function, and I think also its contents. So yeah, that's super interesting to see, and I'm actually curious if maybe you can build a system where a small large language model kind of generates general code, and like smaller models you can run them locally and they're not as smart as these bigger models, but with this you can maybe combine a small dumb model with this copy and paste model, and then have a system that is kind of smart and understands what you're doing, and yeah, this can be easily integrated into your workflow. Yeah, pretty interesting to see that in general. Yeah, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this looks a lot like Copilot, of course, like exclusively to copy paste. It's also interesting the like overarching idea that 25% of the code, around 25% of the code, is immediately modified. I would have thought that it would have been more. Again, they're just looking at Google monorepo, but yeah, I mean, again, this is like a pretty similar tool to, well, I don't know if it's a tool or it's just a research right now, but like you said, like in here, he's not even copying. Like I would have thought that it was like you said. I find the useful code or the code that I need somewhere else. I paste it into my code base, and then it adjusts based on context. But from here, we're seeing that it completely like transformed the floor function to the ceiling function.
Mm,
So it wasn't just context aware, like in the sense that maybe would adjust things like the structure or the conventions that are being used in my code base, but it is also like actively modifying the function to work exactly as expected. Like I said, pretty similar to what you would do uh, with Copilot from GitHub. Like I would type the comment like ceiling function, and it would generate very similar function. Um, Also, I think something that might be interesting to look at, I don't know if it's available here, is what's powering this.
mm,
Because I remember Google just came out with a new like family of code related models from, I think it was from, I don't remember if it was from Gemini or a smaller model. But yeah, just curious if there's anything there about like if this is like an actual tool, like is it going to be released as an extension? Is it just research?
mhm, mhm.
Um, but yeah, interesting insight overall.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Also, since we've never really seen this kind of work before, I guess, like no one focused on that. So yeah, pretty crazy that we're seeing this right now. All right, let's go over to another research release from Google, which is Magic Insert, style aware drag and drop. And this image basically explains the whole thing perfectly. Like sometimes you want to integrate an object into another image, but this is like a more difficult task than you would think. Like doing this manually can, yeah, basically is a lot of work. So yeah, you can see an example right here of this goblin, I guess, that is pasted into this room. And you can see the details right here, like for example, the shadow is created. It looks like he's really standing on the floor, and also kind of the style is transferred, like all the things like lighting in the room and everything like this. This can also be like seen here. We take this green uh, gooey thing, paste it into this cave, and now you can see it changes like style, and it looks super nice. It really looks like it is actually integrated into the image. Yeah, which is super cool. We also have some more examples down here. Where are they? Right here, where you can really see the style transfer. So we have this black and white image of a clown. Now it's pasted into this room right here, and you can see the shadows again. You can see that the clown is like stylized to fit the colors and theme of this room. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, you can see also here the same thing is done. It's super stylized. It's using all the colors that are found in the background. Pretty crazy. Also here again, stylized. All things are matching now, like lighting, shadows, everything like that. So yeah, these are some very good examples. And I'm not sure about the use cases. I can currently only like think of one. Uh, Basically, the thing that what Neo Locust was doing, and they're basically integrating furniture into basic apartment images, into like empty apartment images. So yeah, maybe we will see more of this soon. Yeah, I mean, nothing super crazy, but I think it's still interesting to show because like the style transfer and everything is just super cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the use cases can be plenty if you get creative, and mainly the like creative side of like work, for example, somebody who works for some studio or gaming studio, and you have to do like often some like characters and like test them out and try them out in different like this type of like this line of work.
Yeah.
Again, but that's just one of the many that maybe some other people can come up. You mentioned your Locus is doing something relatively similar in the sense that yes, you describe it right. Like you have this picture of an apartment and it helps you like for like see how would it look with this furniture here or there. What I find interesting, well, first also it seems that you do lose like some character features when transferring into the other like styles. Like for example, these like gooey ghost boasters thingy. When one it has legs, in the other it's like a little bit like a ghost more.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless of that, it is pretty cool. I'm pretty sure we've seen like plenty of research like this, and by like this I mean like some small cool feature that you can do, maybe with images, like in here, for example, you can drag and drop. But I don't think we ever get to like see it put into something,
Mm-hmm.
which is something that I find interesting because I see like definitely like value into, even if you make an app out of this where you just drag and drop stuff, it already like I see 100% like somebody who would buy that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's from money perspective. This is a research, but the point is that it never gets to be like something publicly available to be used, which I find interesting. But yeah, this is pretty cool. Like the whole drag and drop makes it super easy. The style transfer, you said it, it's nothing new, uh, but it's cool also if you see it like generates the different angles the person is, and like this LLM guided sounds like pretty interesting as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to be fairly accurate in the sense that even if not all the features are transferred, all the like multiple generations are very consistent, which is also pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, we even have this post transfer or post creation, I guess you can call it. Yeah, and like the use cases for this are, I guess, like pretty obvious and pretty nice. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, because you can also basically prototype a lot of things fairly quickly because the model does all the integration. Um, yeah, yeah, and imagine like creating an album cover, and I don't know, the artist says that he wants to use this exact soldier, and then you can just quickly prototype like 6 of these album covers right here. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, we still have more things, and this is pretty interesting research. Um, I guess everyone is familiar with like Google Street View, and basically what someone did is create a model where you can go from kind of an image to exact coordinates. So you input an image and then you get back the coordinates of this image, which is pretty interesting. So you can see right here, we have like things that are non-localizable, where you have like too little information about things to actually do a prediction. Then you have these kind of street view images, which are much better because you have like tons of information that you can look at. And then you have like obvious landmarks. Yeah, and all this went into this model. And this is basically how you can use it. And this is also pretty interesting. So you initialize the model, you upload an image, then you run the model on this image, and then you get back latitude and longitude coordinates, which is super crazy to think about, that you can just take a single image and then get back some coordinates. Uh, yeah, I can't think of a lot of use cases to actually use this. Like, I guess it's very niche, but maybe there are
Detective
some.
work.
Yeah, yeah, I can only think of like these CSI Miami shows where they use these type of things, like upload a single image and then get back the coordinates of yeah whatever's going on. Um, but it's interesting to see that you can do these kinds of things nowadays. Um, yeah, because I guess you also have a lot of training data from Google Street View. Like you basically have like Street View routes in every country around the world. You can just grab a lot of like training images. You can also grab like stock photos of obvious landmarks. Yeah, then train the model with this. So yeah, pretty crazy. But yeah, let
I
we.
wonder how accurate is it? Like, how actually accurate is it?
Mhm.
Like, is it good or is it just something that works sometimes? But the point is that it can do that. Uh, But yeah, I think you said it is pretty like there's a lot of training data for sure. Um, but yeah, I'm just 100% curious if like it actually works. Um,
I didn't see any
but yeah,
benchmarks yet, but yeah.
I guess that would be on the paper, but we might have to go through the paper so we can skip the question. But like for those who are curious, like definitely worth checking how good is it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I can see like I was making a joke earlier that like these people who play like GeoGuessr, it's the name Fabian of the game,
Yes.
uh, where you like guess locations based on pictures, and these guys are like super accurate and they do it in like half a second.
Hmm.
That's the data source of this like model for sure.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, all right. So last week we've looked at the release of Florence 2, which is a vision-based model from Microsoft. So here's another look at it. And the amazing thing about this model was that it's super small. So usually we kind of see like at least 1 billion parameters, but now the space model only has 230 million parameters, which is very, very small. But this gives us the possibility to use this model right within our browser. So I basically cloned this project right here, which is like an example of how to do this. And I've started this locally. And so I already tested it out, but it takes about like 10 to 15 seconds to actually download the model. And then you can use it right within your browser. So I've uploaded this image of a dog on a laptop right here. And from the task, I chose more detailed caption. So let's run the model right here. And you can see it's fairly quick. And we now have a very detailed caption of this image. So a dog sitting in a chair, wearing a hoodie, face is black. That's not correct, but yeah, that's due to the very small model size. The ears are pointed up, the neck is white, the hands on the laptop are black. That's also not very correct. There's a blue wall behind the dog. The laptop is open. The desk is gray, and the wall behind is blue again. Yeah, I mean it's not the most accurate caption, but I guess for like auto alt text generation for web images, it's pretty good because that's usually very painful. And if you have a lot of images, that's even more painful. So you can just use this very small and efficient model to generate these captions. We can also do things like object detection, like OCR if there's any text within the image. Let's do the object detection, and you can see it outputs these bounding boxes that you can then use. And you can see the bounding boxes right here are dog and laptop, so it's probably around the dog and the laptop. So yeah, pretty cool. Um, like there are a lot of kind of use cases around this web GPU technology. So it will open up kind of a new paradigm to like what's possible in the browser. Yeah, that's super cool because I can imagine like tons and tons of very useful applications that are developing out of this.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think the web GPU is like very like key here because the model itself, like you said, it's not great, but it is very small. Like for sure, it is very very small. But we also saw like I think 1 or 2 weeks ago, like this model that was like for Googling stuff. And I think I would love to see. I know we can't do it right now, but I would love to see like how accurate these boxes are. But it's pretty cool that it can do that as well. And it was super quick. The fact that you don't need internet or anything to do all of these. And I'm pretty sure this like big larger version because it was a large version.
Hmm.
Um, might be considerably better and is still like relatively small. So yeah, I tend to say that like these small models are like super valuable, especially for like on-device tasks.
Hmm.
So yeah, it is pretty cool and it does seem pretty like useful for many things. And this says the model is like 340 megabytes, which is like smaller than many pictures that you already have in your computer. So So
Yeah.
that's pretty nice, pretty neat.
And the upside is also that this download is cache. So if you revisit the site, it's actually already downloaded. So you only have to go through the pain of downloading the model once at the beginning. So yeah, that's super convenient. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I hope we will see these kinds of models integrated into web pages a lot in the future. All
Yeah,
right.
like you said, it takes like 15 seconds to load. Imagine just open a page. It takes 15 seconds to load is not the worst thing.
Mhm.
And then once you're in, and everything works. So, which I
Yeah,
think is pretty cool.
yeah, definitely. Um, all right, and the last thing, which is also super, super interesting, is agentless, which is okay, you can't really call this an agent, but it's a system to basically solve software engineering tasks. So let's scroll down here to the bottom, and you can see this is a benchmark that compares different systems. And you can see that this agent list is actually now the state of the art for this software engineering benchmark. Yeah, which is super crazy to see. So let's have a closer look here at what's actually happening and why they are calling this agentless. So here in the about it says it's an agentless approach to automatically solve software development problems, and it follows this kind of structure. So first we do this localization, where agentless employs this hierarchical process to first localize the fault to specific files. So this is something that we've also seen in a lot of different large language model systems, where we first have to gather as much context as possible, especially in like software engineering, because sometimes you call a function, but the model has no idea what the function actually does. So it's very important to gather as much context as possible, especially when you're kind of debugging a project. So yeah, it gathers like classes or functions, um, yeah, to then like fine-grained edit locations. And then we have these locations where code needs to be changed. And then the agent or the system goes on to then edit these locations, generates multiple candidate patches, and then re-ranks these patches to select the best one to submit. So yeah, that's pretty straightforward. Um, you can see here it's very easy to install, nothing crazy. You can use OpenAI models. Yeah, and then it goes on how to actually do these steps. And you can run all of this from the command line, so it's fairly easy to do. So you can run like first the localization and then the repair. Um, yeah, so I hope we will actually see this like integrated into maybe a GitHub action where you can just plug it into your repository, and like if you create a new issue, then a new pull request is opened with all the changes. Like we've seen this, for example, from this software engineering agent, which was super cool. I'm not sure if this OpenDevon can also create pull requests, but maybe. Um, but yeah, I would love to see this integrated into something that's easily like plug and play into your own projects.
Yeah, I mean, it does look promising. The 27% is definitely way more than anything we've seen.
Hmm.
We've discussed here the SWE agent, so I'm just a bit skeptical, like always. It is using the light version of the benchmark, which I don't remember exactly how much does it has. Um, but anyways, like it's something new. That's definitely like a fact. We haven't seen anything like this
Hmm.
before. It's always like agents these, agents us, right?
Yeah.
So it is a fresh change of pace. I'm just still like not super clear how it actually like works. I understood 100% what you said, but it does make me curious and like want to like poke a little bit around, especially since it's open source
Hmm.
and since it claims to be like so good. Again, I'm not like implying anything here. We've just like gone through several technologies that like look very promising at the end they're like not that good,
Yeah.
but it is still like very very nice to see like this new approach to things, which is always good because very often there's an idea and somebody comes with this idea and then everybody like just keeps doing the same thing slightly different.
Hmm.
which in this case was agents, which do work, are great, and they have so much potential. But it is always nice to see like somebody thinking outside that box.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, yeah, I like it. I'll definitely like check it out.
All right, and with this, we are already at the end. We have like tons of interesting events lined up for you. So if you're interested to build with these technologies, make sure to check out lablab.ai. We have the Falcon event lined up, Llama 3, Code and also the Lang Flow hackathon. So yeah, very interesting things. So yeah, make sure to like check them out, maybe enroll in one, find a good team, and build really awesome things. All right, I guess that's it for today. So thank you for watching, and we will see you next week. So bye bye, and enjoy the rest of the day.